Inside Huntsville with Brenda Martin, a conversation with department heads at City Hall on streets, ball fields, public safety, and more. And also with our community partners that add economic security, support education, and enhance the city's quality of life.
Hello, I'm Brenda Martin with Inside Huntsville, and thanks for joining me today. My guest today is the Development Director at the Burritt Museum, Caroline Buncick. Welcome, Caroline, and thanks for joining us.
I'm excited to tell you about what we're going to talk about today.
I know. The Burritt Museum, of course, is one of the city's partners.
That's right.
And it was one of Huntsville's first museums.
It was Huntsville's first museum. Dr. Burritt left his mansion back in 1955 in his will to the city of Huntsville, and since then it's grown into a historic park, nature trails, concerts, all kinds of activities, festivals.
Often known as the jewel on the mountain.
That's right. We are on top of Round Top Mountain. People think we're on top of Montesano, but I'm a stickler for the facts, and the facts are we're our own mountain, Round Top. And as you're going up Montesano Boulevard, you turn into our driveway and you go up a separate mountain, and we're right beside Montesano.
Never knew that.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I might need to do that. Did you know?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay?
We have our own mountain.
Because we always talk about the Burritt on Montesano.
Yeah. And if you look at the skyline, I mean at the mountains, say you're in downtown Huntsville and you look up at the mountain, you'll see a little mountain and then Montesano.
Oh,
and that's us.
That's okay.
And so we're the jewel on the mountain.
How about that?
That's right.
Well, tell us, Caroline, what is your mission and the purpose of the Burritt?
The mission of Burritt on the Mountain is to enhance lives and develop community through educational, artistic, and recreational experiences while preserving our heritage, land, and historic structures. In a nutshell, that is, we have preserved Dr. Burritt's home. We use it for dinners, for exhibits, for parties, for guests coming through, tourism. We have built the historic park by bringing up homes that were originally in the Cumberland Plateau, North Alabama, Southern Tennessee. We've taken these homes that are originally from the 1800s, restored them to their original condition, and we depict life as it was on a farm in that time period. So we preserve our land, our heritage, and historic structures.
Wonderful. Quite educational.
Very. That is our top priority. Everything we do is to put money back into the coffers for our education department. We do festivals, and the festivals are centered around our culture and our history. And everything we do, from camps, festivals, concerts, that's an educational program because we bring all sorts of bands that play anything from Latin music to classical music to rock and roll, the whole gamut.
So in talking about educating the public,
right?
Okay, Burritt has now embarked upon a new project. The Rosenwald Schoolhouse.
That's right.
Well, tell us about that.
And we should be breaking ground soon, very, very soon. And the Rosenwald Schoolhouse is a replica of the type of schoolhouses that were built all over the Southeast. Over 5,000 schoolhouses were built, and they came from a foundation created between Booker T. Washington, the well-known president and founder of the Tuskegee Institute, and a lesser-known philanthropist, Julius Rosenwald. And together they put together a foundation that gave communities, these were for African American students. Booker T showed Julius Rosenwald the deplorable conditions that African American students had. This started in the early 1900s, that they were trying to go to school in and trying to learn in and trying to be healthy and safe in, and there were deplorable conditions. If they had books, They were, you know, the books were old and out of date and, you know, used. And so Julius Rosenwald saw the need and saw where he could help. And together they created a foundation that partnered with communities to build schools all over the Southeast.
Is this how they became great friends, or?
They did. They became friends first, and Booker T brought him to Tuskegee to get him to help him with some things in Tuskegee. And through that, this whole foundation grew from some, you know, from conversations, from becoming friends, from collaboration.
Sure.
I wish we had more collaboration these days.
Isn't that the truth?
Yes, but to show what can happen between the races, between friends,
yes.
between, you know, people that come from two totally different backgrounds.
Different walks of life.
That's right. They were both self-made men, and they both believed in a hand up and not a hand out.
Okay. Well, talk about the students, the type of students that attended the school.
Okay. Primarily rural.
Okay.
And there were some in the cities, but not many. We had 9 in Madison County alone. So that's impressive, isn't it?
That was one of my questions. Did we have any?
That's right. We had, I believe, over 400 in the state of Alabama, and we had 9 in Madison County. And I believe 1 might still be standing. I've got to do a little more research on that. I got some information, and I haven't followed that up yet. But most of these schoolhouses have been torn down because when desegregation happened, the black students tended to go to the white, you know, they were bused. They went to the white student schools because those were the better schools. And these schoolhouses fell into disrepair. Many of them became community places or libraries, but there is a wonderful resurgence of interest in these schoolhouses, and so there's a great interest in restoring them. We did not want to restore one because you have to make it ADA accessible. You want to have it, you know, anything at Burritt has to be accessible, but we wanted to do something that it would just be a whole lot less money to build a replica than to restore one, to find one and restore one.
So why did Burritt decide to do this?
Because, well, we're going to use it as part of our educational program.
Okay.
4th grade students from all over are going to be invited to come and participate, excuse me, in a day of immersion. And I'll tell you about that in a few minutes.
Okay.
That's one reason to use it in our educational program. To also preserve our heritage.
Yes.
This is such an important piece of the African American story.
Yes.
And I heard a woman talking the other day who has done a film on this. And she said, you know, we know about slavery and we know about civil rights, but this spans the time frame. If I haven't mentioned it, this is in the early 1900s, so the 1920s through the 1930s. And that's when they were built. And this spans a really important time. It's such a positive part of the African American story.
And you don't hear about it.
And you don't hear about it. And so we want to do something about that.
Oh, how positive.
We're going to have an exhibit about the collaboration between the 2 men in the schoolhouse. We will have this up and going well before the bicentennial.
Great,
So
okay.
that will be an exciting thing for tourists to come see. And they can go and do the civil rights tour in Birmingham and then come up here and see what went on before that, or vice versa.
Vice versa,
And so we wanted to have that here as part of our mission of historic preservation. It's part of our heritage, education. It just, historic structures, it just fits it all.
And so you spoke about, there were how many in Alabama or the Southeast?
Over 400, there were over 5,000 schools built in the Southeast, and I believe they included Texas. Yeah, so you can go online, and there is an image that you can Google, and it is, just do Rosenwald Schoolhouse map, and it will show you a dot for every school that was built. Some of these include one-room schoolhouses up to 4, 6-room schoolhouses. Some of them are teachers' houses, you know, a place for the teacher to live, but it's all through the foundation, the Rosenwald Foundation.
And so he provided
He
monies
provided money
for all of these.
for all of these. That's right. And when I said earlier that he and Booker T believed in a hand up, not a handout,
Yes.
they created a plan where communities would do matching funds.
Okay.
And these were the blacks and the whites. There's great documentation of who gave, and even the children had penny raising. They got involved. There's documentation of posters that they put out to come hear about the Rosenwald Schoolhouse or come hear about the community schoolhouse. They didn't even really call it Rosenwald Schoolhouses. He didn't want any
publicity.
accolades, but they ended up putting his picture in these schoolhouses, and they had a picture of Lincoln, Booker T. Washington, and Julius Rosenwald.
No kidding.
And you can find images of that. Images of the school children standing in front, playing in front, or doing their calisthenics in the morning in front of the schoolhouse.
Okay, so did these schools go up to 4th grade, or
I believe they went up through high school.
up through high school?
Yes,
Okay.
I've talked to people who actually went to some of these schools, and they were like the one-room schoolhouse.
I was going to say one-room
helped
schoolhouse.
each other
Okay.
out, but they also had multiple. Ours is going to be a 2-room. It's going to be 4 rooms. There's going to be a 1-room, 2 school rooms, 1 room for the office of the teacher, which is going to be offices for our educational department, and then a 4th room, which is also very interesting to this whole subject, and that is the industrial room. And the industrial room, they taught the boys trades that they could use after they graduated to make a living. They taught the girls home ec type things.
Okay.
So we are using our industrial room to jumpstart a folk school at Burritt.
Okay, and I was going to ask you about that.
That's right. If you go to the John C. Campbell School, which is in North Carolina, or there are several folk schools around, but nothing in North Alabama, and that is where people can learn the crafts of our ancestors. You can learn anything from fiddling and music to basket weaving to blacksmithing, forging, to any kind of metalworking, tinsmithing, pottery. It's just the folk arts, and it's something that's very important. And coming back to the collective conscious of how important our history is, how important all of these things are to our heritage, and to continue.
Wonderful.
So we're going to build the school and create classes where people can come. But we really got this idea through the whole idea of the industrial room in the Rosenwald schools.
So have you seen any of these schools yourself?
Online, but not in person.
Not in person.
That's
okay.
right. But you can find all kinds of information online. They have loads and loads of, like I said, documentation, photographs, information from people that went to school there. Some very famous people had some of their some of Oprah's family went there.
Right?
Oh yeah.
Oh my.
And if you're from this area and you go back and you start asking your ancestors, about the schools, there was a gentleman, he works at Burritt on the Mountain, Robert Irvin, and he came in there and saw our picture that we had painted, our rendering of what our schoolhouse is going to look like. And he said, I went to one of those schools.
Is that right?
I said, you did? I said, did you know this was called a Rosenwald schoolhouse? And he says, well, I didn't know why, but we'd always been taught that a Jew helped build that school. Yeah.
Someone right here.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, yeah. All over.
Oh.
You wouldn't believe how many people. There are a lot of people here in town that have
Attended.
ties
Okay.
and attended.
And
yes.
attended that school.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So we're very excited about it. Now, the fourth graders,
Yes, I was going to ask you about the fourth graders.
when they come to the school for their day of immersion, it's going to be, now we don't want to say field trip so much, because sometimes people feel like field trips are where they just go off and they play for a day. This is a full day of school. They don't miss any school. Our educators will have worked with their teachers. What is their curriculum they're learning right now?
Wonderful.
What are their spelling words? What kind of math are they learning? And so they will continue that day in their
their learning process.
right.
Okay. What they're learning in their
learning
school.
right there. They won't miss a trick, but they're doing it in the technology of the early 1900s.
Oh.
And what they'll do is they'll come to school they'll come to Burritt on their
Okay.
school buses.
Uh-huh.
They'll go to one of our historic homes in the historic park. That will be their house that they
Okay.
their home. They'll get pinafore or suspenders. They'll get their pail for their lunch. They'll hear the school bell ring.
Oh.
They'll take off for school. They'll go to school. They'll do the Pledge of Allegiance outside to the flag on the flagpole, and then they'll start their day. And during their recess, which, unfortunately, I don't think they have as many recesses and time outside like they should, in my
Yes,
opinion,
yes.
these days. But they'll get recess and they'll get to do things like playing hopscotch and jumping rope and, throwing the ball and doing whatever they did back in that time period.
in that time,
or
yeah.
working with their animals. They might go feed the animals or something that they might have done. They might have gone home to feed the cows or whatever. I mean,
Yes.
they'll get to spend a day at Burritt just like the kids of that age.
To experience that time
That's
period.
right. And to give them a real feel for how
special.
far we've come and what the kids of that time period lived through.
And how thankful we should be today.
There's some really good things on both sides,
Yes.
Now they'll have air conditioning and heat.
Okay.
But we will have the potbelly stove in the middle. But when you think back, when there's so much I have learned from being at Burritt on the mountain.
Oh, I bet.
That there's a lot of people who were, that really use the arts of back there. There's a lot of things I think that we have lost. I think that we've gained a lot, but I think that we've lost a lot of the simpler times as well. And
I've
so
heard that. I've
come
heard
to
other
Burritt.
people say that.
Yeah, come to Burritt and experience that. Maybe you'll want to take a little bit home.
Especially in the skill area, as you talked earlier about how they taught the men,
Right.
skills.
Right. I mean,
And we need to do that today.
That's becoming a conversation also that you're starting to hear. Not everybody needs to go to college.
Or can go to college.
Can go to college.
yes.
And they go and learn a skill. And they make great money.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So there was a lot to it. Now, there was controversy about these, too.
It was?
W.E.B.
Okay.
Du Bois.
Uh-huh.
He did not like some of the aspects of this school. He and Booker T were, they butt heads. Right.
Yes.
They wanted the same eventual thing to happen.
But in a different way.
But they saw it
Their
in
methods
a different
were
way.
different.
Exactly,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
exactly. So it's interesting to read this. I tell you, history, there's nothing new. Like Solomon said, there's nothing new under the sun.
Under the sun.
And when you go back, I think I heard Whoopi Goldberg talking about this yesterday. Go learn your history.
She
Go
said that.
learn your
I
history.
saw that. Yes.
Yeah, and she was
Yes.
talking about Martin Luther King
Yes.
and the race relations and all that. Go learn your history. Well, come to Burritt and you'll learn your history.
I love it. Right here
Right
on top
here.
of the mountain.
I love to say that here in Huntsville, we are blessed.
Yes, we
are
are.
blessed because not only can you go to the Space and Rocket Center and see where we're going, but you can go to Burritt and see where we've been.
You can go on the round top.
That's right,
Of
on
the
Round Top Mountain. That's right.
Yes, wonderful, wonderful. Now, you did mention that the school would be available during the Alabama Bicentennial.
That's right.
Talk a little bit about that.
Okay. Not only will it be built for the school children, this will also be a great place for tourists to come and go through, because we will have an exhibit set up in the hallway about Booker T. Washington, about Julius Rosenwald, their whole history of how they collaborated and they came to this this wonderful foundation. And there's even information I heard the other day about the Tuskegee Airmen.
Oh, really?
And how the Julius Rosenwald Fund, actually some of that money was used to build the airstrip. Oh. And that's how they got to get the aviation department or program at Tuskegee. I mean, it is just so interesting. So anyway, we'll have the schoolhouse open for the bicentennial. So this helps with tourism for Madison County.
Sure.
This helps the students of Madison County, all the citizens of Madison County.
So now, when will it be finished?
Well,
I know it will be available but when will
I believe we are planning to break ground in April.
Are you? Okay.
Yes.
This April?
Yes, and I think y'all are hearing this first.
Okay.
So let's hope that I'm telling you the truth. And then I don't know how long, I haven't heard how long it will take to build it, but I'm just guessing around 9 months. Oh, nope, wait, I think we might be ready for the school children. We are planning to be ready for the school children in the fall of 17.
Okay.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes. So that's when it will open for the school children. Whether we open it up before that for the tourists, I'm sure we will if we're ready. But our educational program will be set up and running, teachers hired, everything ready to go by 2017 is what our plan is.
Will there be teachers, people from the public, teachers that you'll hire for these positions?
We are working with the local educators, to the Huntsville City, Madison City, and Madison County education departments to help build this curriculum.
Okay.
And so we want buy-in. We have buy-in from the city, the county, legislators. We really want the buy-in of the public. We're going to be going into programs for that soon. So we're very excited about it.
Could I ask you, what's the cost?
The cost was $1.3 million.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, how did you go about getting this money?
We went to our government officials, local. Mm-hmm. We went to individuals who are familiar with Burritt, familiar with our success of
educating people.
Education, but also our success of taking care of our monies. And taking care of donations. And really using them to the best of their ability. This is going to be a fantastic school. And with our Barron Bluff, we came in under budget and before we were supposed to have it done.
How about that?
We hope to do the same thing with the Rosenwald School. But we really take care of the faith that people give to us.
Yes, the monies that
Dorothy Davidson.
It
is going to be the naming. It's going to be the Davidson School. It'll be a Rosenwald school, but I believe it's going to be the Davidson School.
School as well. Yes.
I'm not sure if that's exactly the right way we're going to name it, but she's been wonderful to us, as have other individuals. Yeah, and we still have naming opportunities. There's still ways to get involved. So if anybody has any extra spare change around, or they want to honor someone or memorialize someone with a naming opportunity, we have plenty of opportunities.
That's great. So you have plenty of areas in which you can still name.
Yes, at all different
levels.
Right.
Okay. Now, when will that information start getting out?
We have already talked to individuals. We haven't gone public necessarily. However, they can call me. Caroline Buncick at Burritt on the Mountain, and that's 536-2882.
Okay. Okay. What's your website?
BurrittOnTheMountain.com. 2 R's, 2 T's.
Okay, good. Our time is simply too short.
Oh, well, if anybody has questions, just give me a call.
Yes, for all the information that there is to share about the Burritt and Museum.
That's right.
And the museum. However, we're going to have you back.
Good.
Yeah, for sure, so that you can share with us the progress.
Yes, I'd love
as you go through this project.
I'd love to.
This is phenomenal. Very exciting.
We are very
exciting and most fitting for our community. Would you not say?
It really is. Yeah. It really is for everyone of every race.
Of every race.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And every age.
Caroline, yes, that's the one thing I wanted to say. The Burritt has something for everyone from 2 to 100.
That's right. Absolutely.
Okay? So this is wonderful. We're so glad that you're partners with the city.
Thank you.
And it's always a pleasure to be with you and to hear your excitement about what you do and what's going on at the Burritt.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for being here with us. Well, that's my show for today. Thanks for joining me. I'm Brenda Martin for Inside Huntsville. Enjoy your day.